Hey! What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Well, my name is Jeremy, aka, well, come on! It's your boy, IPG, Red, Purple, Gold. Now, before we get to this brand new episode tonight, I just wanted to take the time, as I always do, to let you guys know and remind you to subscribe to the channel. Definitely take just a couple seconds, give the video that thumbs up. Just take a couple quick seconds, like the video, because it definitely does help. Also, right down there, right below, in that comment section, leave any comments that you might like, because it definitely is the best way to get that dialogue started back and forth. And of course, as always, ding dong, it's the bell gang. You know how it goes. Make sure to hit that notification bell so that each time I put up a brand new video, you'll be the first to be notified that it's gone up, and you can be able to take in that content whenever you'd like. Well, you guys, I am coming with a little bit of a story time today, and unfortunately, it is a little bit of a somber, sad story, but, you know, it kind of hit close to home, so I figured that I definitely should, you know, kind of let you guys know about it and, you know, give you some of the details about what's going on. So, in some of my previous videos, and this is something that I maybe haven't mentioned a lot, so it might have just been an offhanded comment, you know, here or there over, you know, all of the different videos that I've done, but not something that I've ever made a major emphasis on. But when I very first started, like, kind of really getting into music in the sense of, you know, saying that, okay, I'm going to take the idea that I can sing and be able to rap, you know, to an extent, I'm going to really try and see what I can do with that, and I'm going to, you know, really put my hand into writing and really just kind of, you know, dive headfirst into the deep end of the pool and just really see what I can come up with. And when I was working for Kaiser Permanente, my employer, I was at the time working in our Tukwila office here in the Seattle area. And a coworker of mine had, you know, just kind of like through happenstance and just, you know, communication and just, you know, conversation, that I did music, and she had let me know. Now, her name is Deanne, and she let me know that her husband played in a band with all of his brothers, and the name of that band was Septimus. Now, Septimus is a band that's been around for, you know, a long time, you know, probably 20 years or longer, and again, now, you know, Ron, who is the bass player, and Frank, who is, you know, kind of like the keyboardist and the lead singer, you know, and then their two other brothers, you know, I mean, obviously, they have been a family for a long, long time, but as a band, you know, you know, I was hearing stories about, you know, them doing recording and all sorts of things for a long time. So when I kind of found out that you know, we had that in common, where Deanne's husband, Ron, was in this band, she was like, you know, you definitely should come and listen to them. They play at this little venue that's downtown in Seattle. It's a lot of fun, and then, you know, you'd be able to get a chance to meet everybody, and it would just be a good time. So I actually, and this was probably, just to give you guys some context, probably about 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, somewhere around there. So it's been a while since I have known Deanne, and probably when I knew her was probably closer to maybe even 5 or 6 years ago. But when I learned about Ron and Septimus as a group overall, I ended up going to the venue that they play at, and it was just this little cafe that was in the downtown Seattle area, and, you know, super intimate, really fun little spot, and just a great place to be able to take in live music, because everybody that was there were really, really nice. They were just there to relax, have some food, maybe have a drink or two, and, you know, listen to some good music and just have a good time. You know, this wasn't a big show where you had a lot of people that you're trying to impress or whatever. This is kind of like your own extended family coming to, you know, hear you perform, and everybody's just there to have a good time. And so going to my first show of Septimus that I went to, you know, live with Deanne, had a great time, you know, had the opportunity to meet Ron, her husband, you know, Frank and the rest of the band, and they were incredible, just in the sense of the music was really, really good, but also in the idea that these guys as musicians, including artists, but as musicians specifically, their skill level was amazing, where they could just hear a song, and after maybe about 20 to 30 seconds, as a band, as one unit, replay the entire song. Now, obviously, you're hearing, you know, a song from a phone, and then you're expanding that into a live band as one unit. The ability that they had to just turn on a dime and start playing something that they just heard blew my mind. How talented they were, each individually, but together as, you know, the band Septimus as a whole. And so when I went to that first show, I was like, wow, like, you know, these guys are awesome, and I have to keep coming, and I really need to now spend a lot more time, you know, with Deanne and Ron, and just, you know, learn and practice with them, and that's basically exactly what I did. I started going over to Deanne's place probably maybe 2 or 3 times a week, practicing with Ron, you know, singing and you know, coming up with songs and doing all sorts of stuff. And it wasn't in any way like adding to the music that I was making per se, but at the same time, it was all music, it was all amazing, and I had so much fun with it. And during that time, you know, over the next year, you know, 9 months to a year or so, then I actually ended up playing several times with Septimus, where there were songs that I wanted to do, or some songs that I had heard at the time that I had actually rewritten lyrics to. And so then I would be there at their venue where they played, and then I would say, okay, you know, guys, here's the song, boom, 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 you know, I've come up with a new song to this specific track of, you know, XYZ specific artist, let's play it. And when I was spending all that time with Deanne and Ron, I was learning so much just about them, but also about music and just, you know, the business as more of a whole, because like I said, Septimus has been around for a long time, and they've experienced a ton of stuff when it comes to, you know, them individually and as a band and just as musicians and artists. And so in experiencing all of that, you know, I really became really close with Deanne and Ron, obviously, for spending as much time with them as I did. But in addition to that, I also, you know, became a lot closer and you know, really considered everybody in the band, you know, as friends. And Frank Brown, who is the lead singer and the keyboardist, when I would watch him when I would go to the shows, the thing that I took away from him the most was the fact that just watching his energy and just watching his, you know, the way that he was able to mold with the crowd and just interact with everybody. It was just so fun, really, to see a person with that level of skill in their element. And really, when it came down to it, somebody who was having so much more fun than even anybody else in the audience that was there simply just to have a good time and listen to some really good music. And he taught me, you know, just that panache and just the flair and the ambiance and just that, to exude that level of character when you're, you know, and he was sitting down at his keyboard and just singing. So it wasn't like he was also standing up and moving around the room and doing all these other things. So to be able to sit there and just watch him and learn by just being part of the show was incredible. And and again, you know, just by the amount of time that I spent with Ron, like I got to spend, you know, more time with, you know, him and all of his brothers as well at random times. And so now, fast forward to, you know, right now within the last couple months. And I had gone over to Ron and Deanne's house, you know, within the last couple months, and I had asked about, you know, the brothers and the family, how everybody was doing, and they said, well, actually not well. They found out that Frank had cancer, and, you know, maybe more in just that sense of how people are when it comes to medical stuff. Didn't realize that maybe some of the symptoms that he was experiencing was maybe as bad as they were, and it probably turned out, at least from some of the information that I've gathered, that he might have gone longer without knowing what was really going on and never really had it fully diagnosed and maybe kind of caught as quickly as it might have been able to. But, you know, just a lot of kind of figuring that out and just being like, well, you know, if there's anything that I can do as an individual, you know, please do not hesitate to ask in any way. And then I had just been over there, so this was before the release of the album back in February where I had learned this, and then after the album released, I was now, if you guys remember, I had made a video right before the album was going to release saying like, yes, you know, I'm going to do the album release party where I'm going to do the album listening party over at Deanne and Ron's place, and, you know, I'm hoping everybody can be there, and, you know, we're going to have a good time, we're going to listen to the album. Well, they actually had to cancel because of some, you know, different medical issues and things that they were dealing with Frank. And so kind of learning that and just, you know, understanding what was going on, it was like, okay, well, you know, I mean, I hope that he's able to pull through. I hope that, you know, some of the, you know, different things that he was trying would be able to at least, you know, take the disease back a little bit where he'd have more time. And unfortunately, just like I said, with him kind of catching it later than maybe it could have been, or, you know, hopefully would have been, he ended up, you know, they had told me that, okay, well, now he's in hospice care. He's actually staying here at the house. And then about a week and a half ago, he actually passed. And, you know, it's just sort of one of those situations where, you know, the general person, maybe they have experienced, you know, some death within their life, and you know, other people maybe a lot less or none at all. And for me, it's been much more, you know, on the minimal side. And I actually had the opportunity to see Frank when he was there at the house, maybe about a week or two before he actually passed. And, you know, it was a surreal moment in the sense of you're never really ready for it. Because now, if it had been, you know, Ron or Deanne, where I'd spent so much more time with them, and my ability to kind of get myself maybe more prepared and just understanding a little bit better what was going on in my own headspace, in a sense, it might have been a little bit easier. But it really just hit me really hard, because it wasn't the fact that, you know, he had cancer or that, you know, this was, you're in hospice care. That's kind of more that signaling towards the end. But just because I'd had less interaction with him and less, you know, just one-on-one time, so much of my mental picture and personal view of who he was when he was performing on stage. So it was the vibrance, it was the energy, you know, it was everything. It was all of just, you know, just the over-exaggeration, just everything of who he was as a performer. And again, so much of my time that I spent with him, you know, on a face-to-face basis was in those moments. And so to see him in that space when I went over to Ron and Deanne's place, you know, it just hit me so hard, because you really had that, like, whoa, I just hit a wall. Like, now it's real. Now it's here in front of me, and I was not prepared for that level of change, of just my perception and visualization of who Frank was, and to see him in that moment, and now to know that he's passed, it's such a surreal and sad moment in a general way, because of the fact of how, you know, I knew him pretty well, but also for the things that he taught me without even maybe realizing that he was doing so. But just through all of that interaction with him while he was up on stage, and just being like, wow, like, look at this interaction that he has with the crowd. Look at how he's able to infuse himself into all of these different areas and just get everybody hyped and going. And it was just an incredible sight to see. And through all that, you just start to pick up on things, and you start to almost, you know, like osmosis, it just sinks into you. And, you know, maybe I might never have his level of, you know, just, the bravado and all of the amazing creativity that he had when he was up on stage, because some of that is just pure in the genes, just built into him from the beginning to just be that 100% pure entertainer. But seeing him in that moment and seeing him up on stage, it just was an amazing experience. And now to know that, you know, he's no longer with us is just so sad and just heartbreaking in that sense. But also, you know, my heart completely reaches out to Ron and Deanne, and to the rest of his family, and to, you know, Frank's children as well. So I just wanted to be able to let you guys know that, you know, this was going on, but also to say, you know, how much, you know, I love you and your family, and, you know, how I just feel for you right now in this moment. And so, you know, obviously, you know, my thoughts and prayers go out to you and to the whole family. But, you know, just knowing that I had that time to spend with Frank when I did, I know that for me as a person, as a man, and as an artist as well, I am better in all of those things by having known him. So again, like I said, I know this is a little bit just of a story time, a little bit somber, but, you know, again, he did have a, you know, he definitely did have an influence on me as an individual, and, you know, and I just wanted to put it out there, you know, how special Ron and Deanne are to me, but just the whole family, just knowing that I know them, that in a general way, and even if it's maybe not all the time, maybe I don't see them as much as I used to, but knowing that I still get together with them, you know, very regularly, and that, you know, they are still a part of my life, you know, how much I love them and how much I'm thinking about them and everybody in the family. And, you know, obviously I know this is a very sad time, but, you know, my love goes out to you for all of those reasons and for all of the amazing experiences that I did have with Frank from the time that I did know him. So again, just, you know, thank you for all of the good experiences, and the fact that I was able to, you know, be there with the family and everybody at the end. That was a tough thing, but at the same time a very special, and, you know, just something that just made me feel even closer to everybody as well. And that to me is something that has always been very important to me, just in a general way with anybody that I meet. But knowing that I knew them on that level and that they are still that close to me is just so important, and it just, you know, makes me feel good even, you know, in this time of sadness. So, you know, I just love each and every one of you guys so much, you know, from, you know, the whole Brown family, and each and every one of you, you know, that are here rocking with me on the channel, that are always, you know, following each and every one of these videos. Thank you guys for all of that love and support. And if you are watching this, just, you know, keep your love and support and just those thoughts out there for, you know, everybody in the family, because, you know, they're kind of going through a tough time right now. So again, I know this is a little bit of a somber video, but I just had to be able to let you guys know. But definitely keep it locked right here with your boy RPG Red, Purple, Gold. So until the next episode, peace.